On this episode of All Star Shore, beds are shared, but the $150,000 grand prize isn't? I'm Lizzie Frizzle, and this is the Recap Corner. Today, we're talking about the Season 1 finale. Episode 11, it's called The Final Shoredown. In it, teams compete in the final showdown. But first, they'll have to escape the haunted vineyard. We rejoin the cast during the Haunted Vineyard Exile Game. The first team to escape the vineyard wins the game and earns the third spot in the final showdown. Last episode ended as Mike headed into the far room in search of the last lore note about the vineyard's history. Joey is convinced that something scary is about to happen, and he thinks there's no way that Mike is going to make it out of the far room. But it turns out he really did just need to find a note. It reads, "After Salvador was exposed, the villagers stormed the vineyard and took their revenge. His ghost still haunts this village." Suddenly, the building doors fly open. The cast heads outside and finds a new note in the welcome wine basket that greeted them when they first got to the village. This new note says, "This is the final Exile Game, where one team will earn the opportunity to compete in the final showdown for the grand prize of $150,000. Like I mentioned earlier, the goal of the game is to escape the haunted vineyard. To do that, teams must find 5 locations where Salvador buried his victims after he was done stealing their blood to make his wine. First, teams read a poem on Salvador's headstone. It contains clues to the identity of each of the 5 locations: the chicken coop, the church, the kitchen, the plantain farm, and the scenic overlook. A bag of puzzle pieces waits for each team at each location. Some bags appear kind of hidden in the environment, others are more out in the open. Once a team has found all 5 of their bags, they can begin to solve their puzzle, which is kind of a jigsaw puzzle, but also not really. The pieces all have straight edges. There's no cutouts where the pieces hook into each other. A completed puzzle makes a map of the village. It reveals the location of a key, the only way out of the village. First team to find the key, then use it to unlock the gate, escapes the haunted vineyard, wins the Exile Game, and earns the third spot in the final showdown. At the beginning of the game, head starts are distributed based on shore scores. 1 point in your score equals 1 second of head start time. With 55 points in their shore scores, Bethan and Blake and Angelina and Johnny start first. Then 35 seconds later, Potro and Vanjie start. They had a shore score of 20. And finally, in the last group, it's Gigi and Trina and Joey and Mike, both teams with a shore score of 0. I think the biggest problem with this Exile Game is that the clues in the poem on Salvador's headstone were too easy to decipher, because they weren't clues as much as they were just directions. The poem reads, "His victims tried to fly the coop, but ended up as chicken poop. Their bones were boiled in the place he'd cook, their bodies dumped at the scenic overlook. Because his secret was hard to maintain, He stored their bodies under the plantain. Sunday was his day to pray, standing over where they lay. But the game is still plenty exciting and chaotic to watch. That chaos just comes from the race to find the puzzle piece bags as opposed to deciphering the clues. Amid the mayhem, Potro and Vanjie quickly pull into the lead and maintain that lead through the rest of the Exile game.
Lock them house! This way.
It's over.
We did it!
We going to the finale.
Yeah, buddy!
Fuck.
At the top of the segment, Vanjie told us that he and Potro were going to slay it like Buffy, and slay it they did. There is a moment when all the teams are simultaneously working on their puzzles, and it briefly almost feels like it could be anyone's game, which is pretty impressive considering some contestants like Joey didn't even read the clue poem.
They stored the bodies under the plantain. We gotta go to the... Okay. Where?
Every round? You didn't read the thing?
No.
Why didn't you read the thing?
I can't read.
Potro and Vanjie were my favorite team, at least at this point in the episode. So I was really excited when they won. But I also felt badly for Bethan and Blake and Angelina and Johnny, because both teams only missed the original cutoff to make the final showdown by 5 points. Despite all the buildup last episode, this segment ends pretty quickly. I was disappointed because there were a lot of fun dynamics developing between some of the teams. And by fun dynamics, I mean people were starting to bicker. Namely, Angelina and Johnny.
Johnny, hurry up!
When you say hurry up and you know that you're under pressure, it doesn't help anything.
I think Johnny really had a point there. Joey and his new teammate Mike also aren't getting along.
We need to the corner, bro. We don't know where it goes.
We don't have any fucking corners.
Calm down, chill. The worst teammate ever. The worst.
But more than bickering, what I really wanted to see was how Blake lost this much of his shirt. Did he tear it on the chicken coop? Meanwhile, at the Shore Villa, the final showdown contestants, Marina and James and Karime and Ricardo, wonder why this Exile game is taking so much longer than all the others. Just then, the group returns. It's revealed that Potro and Vanjie are the third showdown competitors, and we learn that most of the cast seems to think they're the favorite to win, despite the fact that they didn't have enough points to qualify for the showdown in the first place. Regardless, even though they're no longer partners, Ricardo and Vanjie are the only original team to both make the final showdown. And I was happy for that because those are two of my favorite cast members. That night, Blake prepares to ask Gigi to be his girlfriend. Some of the cast helps him get ready. Karime calls him a sappy geek, but in a good way. Potro teaches him to say, "Will you be my girlfriend?" in Spanish, but Blake worries that he's like getting pranked with bad Spanish.
Quieres ser mi novia?
This is a question.
Quieres? Pocho, I swear to God, if that means like the black kiss or something, I'll be real fucking pissed.
In another room, Gigi and Bethan talk about how happy they are to have met Blake and Johnny, respectively. It feels like we're at the top of a roller coaster with them. And as Gigi is about to go up one track toward getting into an exclusive relationship, Bethan is heading down another track entirely. The cast gathers outside for a formal party, and everyone looks really nice. I don't mean to sound surprised. It's just that in this kind of reality show, a lot of times formal wear ends up meaning lingerie. But this group really cleans up. It might be because they've all appeared on at least one other reality TV show before, so they have money to actually afford formal wear. Blake sets up a bachelor-style rose ceremony for Gigi. Johnny leads her into the space with some cheesy entrance line like a dating show host. Blake's got a rose sitting on the table. There's that bachelor-style instrumental music playing. The entire cast watches from the balcony as Blake asks Gigi to be his girlfriend. The Spanish goes over very well, and she says yes.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, Blake and Gigi, this is your final shot.
Quieres ser mi novia?
So, can we officially count this scene from All Stars Shore as the post-Becca Bachelor season instead of Colton's? Somehow, it never dawned on me until I was watching this episode, but it totally makes sense that Gigi and Blake bonded, because they both share the very unique experience of thinking they were going to get married to someone they met on a dating show, then getting dumped by that person instead. Now that Gigi and Blake have DTR'd, love and lust is in the air. Mike and Ricardo make out. Potro puts Angelina inside his jacket like Lauren, the ski lodge girl, does to Corey in that one episode of Boy Meets World. Angelina says Potro is her type. But unfortunately, for Bethan and Johnny, there's only heartache. Really, it's more of the same heartache we've been watching for a few episodes now. Bethan is more willing to try like a full-on long-distance relationship than Johnny is. They both want to enjoy the time they have left in Spain together, but Bethan is upset that Johnny continuously brushes past her sad feelings about their inevitable parting in favor of trying to enjoy that time together. Fast forward to around 1 a.m., the final Shoredown contestants have all already gone to sleep early. Potro and Angelina enter the room where Marina is sleeping. Potro pushes 2 beds together, his and somebody else's, and he and Angelina start to cuddle. There's also some kissing sounds, but it would be very easy for the production to pump those in. In the morning, things look a little sketchy. Angelina and Potro wake up in bed together. Potro's in his underwear. As Angelina leaves the room to do what she calls a walk of shame, Potro tells her to send him a kiss. In another room, Marina is already awake and telling Gigi and Trina about Angelina and Potro's sleepover. She calls it disrespectful. And I think she's referring to the fact that Angelina is married, but actually, Marina's talking about the disrespect of waking her up in the middle of the night. News of the sleepover quickly spreads throughout the cast, but Angelina and Potro both deny that anything sexual happened. They say it was just cuddling. Potro briefly confronts Marina about the gossip, but nothing comes of it other than the realization that, once again, I got tricked by an episode trailer. In the trailer for this episode, there's a clip of Marina saying, "Y'all had sex?" And it was heavily implied that she's talking about Angelina and Potro. Now, she is talking about Angelina and Potro, that much is true. But what Marina actually says is, I didn't say y'all had sex. So, just literally the opposite of what the trailer told me.
What's the problem, Marina, that I slept with Angelina and you start this gossiping?
I'm not gossiping. Nobody said that y'all had sex. Everybody saw y'all sleeping together. Now you're coming for me?
The three competing teams prepare for the final showdown in different ways. James warns Marina not to get involved in any more drama after she and Angelina start debating the bed-sharing gossip. Vanjie warns Potro not to get involved in any more drama after he shares his bed with Angelina. And Karime and Ricardo have a morning glass of wine. The group receives their clue about the final showdown. It reads, "Final 3 teams. Everything you've done until now, every game you've played, has led to this moment. Please head to the Exile Arena for the final showdown." As the cast arrives, they notice that pieces from past Paradise and Exile games are strewn about the Exile Arena. There's also a volcano. The final showdown is called Shore is Lava. Now I get the volcano. It's an obstacle course made up of all the pieces from the past games. To compete, each player grabs a red solo cup, then together with their teammate chooses one of 3 ways to cross the lava. There's the floaty course, that's balancing on the big floaties the cast used in the very first Paradise game to determine their original teammates. There's the party pong course. That's balancing on the oversized solo cups used in the Party Pong Paradise game. And lastly, there's the dumpster course. Teammates sit in one of the dumpsters used in one of the Exile games, then pull themselves forward using a rope system. If someone drops their solo cup or touches the sand, the lava, they and their teammate have to start that course over from the beginning. At the end of the courses, each team has a table where they'll need to flip their solo cups into the air so that they land on the table upside down. Basically, each contestant is playing an individual game of flip cup. After both teammates successfully make the flip, they'll take the same course back to the start, pick up a new red solo cup, then repeat the process, choosing a different course this time. The first team to traverse all 3 courses and flip all 6 cups wins the final showdown. The editing this episode laid it on so thick that the cast thought Potro and Vanjie were the favorites to win. I assumed they were pretty much guaranteed to lose. But at the very beginning of Shore is Lava, I questioned that. When the go horn sounds, Potro grabs a solo cup and takes off. But all the other competitors are just kind of milling around for a moment, like they're not sure if they're supposed to start or not.
Careful.
All 3 teams survive their first obstacle course, but only Potro excels at the flip cup portion. In an interview, Blake says that the Americans would have dominated the flip cup, but Vanjie has probably the hardest time of anyone competing, and I'm pretty sure he's from Tampa. So, despite Potro's flipping quickness, Vanjie's struggles allow Marina and James to be the first team to finish flipping. They're followed by Korime and Ricardo, then finally Potro and Vanjie. However, any lead that Marina and James may have picked up is quickly wiped away. Like before, no team has difficulty making it through the obstacle course, but everyone struggles with the second flip cup section. For a while, all three teams are simultaneously trying to flip their cups, but eventually they leave in the same order from the first round. Marina and James finish flipping first, then Korime and Ricardo, then Potro and Vanjie. All three teams successfully navigate their final obstacle course. Korime and Ricardo are the first to make it back to the table for the final flip cup. Then Potro and Vanjie, then Marina and James. Despite the fact that we're watching a game of flip cup, it's extremely suspenseful. For a while, all three teams have one cup flipped. So whoever flips next between James, Ricardo, and Vanjie will win the showdown for themselves and their teammate. Finally, the music swells, the footage slows down, and it's clear that the next flip is going to be the winning one. It's James's, meaning he and Marina have officially won the final showdown. However, according to a note Angelina reads to the cast, nobody has won any money yet. The final twist is waiting for the cast at the Shore Villa. Back home, the cast speculates about the twist. Joey thinks the prize money will be doubled to $300,000, or they'll be able to hunt for $250,000.
I've got a feeling they're gonna ramp it up. I reckon it'll be like, you can double to 300,000 or 250,000.
Mike thinks the cast is going to vote on which winning teammate, Marina or James, deserves to win the prize money. I thought there would be a prisoner's dilemma situation, but we're all wrong. Blake reads instructions to the group. Marina and James, you've made it this far by working as a team, but in this final game, your teammate is now your opponent. The game is called Golden Cup. 2 boxes are in front of Marina and James. You can't see inside them. 1 box has the golden cup inside. The first person to pick the box with the cup in it twice wins $150,000. Pauly D explains it as a game of deception. Decided at random, one person has the ability to open their box to check if they have the golden cup or not. Using that information, they need to convince their opponent to either trade boxes or not want to trade boxes. After their opponent decides trade boxes or keep them the same, both players open their boxes and the owner of the cup is revealed. Immediately, James is worried. He says he's very facially expressive and as a result is not a good liar. As someone whose high school superlative was most facially expressive, I understand his fears. Admittedly, I rolled my eyes when it was revealed that Marina and James wouldn't get to split the prize money, but now I have to admit that Golden Cup was actually a really fun, well-edited segment. We find out alongside the cast who has the Golden Cup in each round. So, like the game of Flip Cup during the final showdown, we're watching something simple, but the editing elevates it into something much more exciting and suspenseful. In the first round, Marina looks in her box. James thinks she has the cup, wants to switch, and is wrong. Marina didn't have the cup. James gave it to her. The score is Marina 1, James 0. In round 2, James looks in his box. Marina quickly decides to keep the boxes the same. She doesn't want to trade, and that turns out to be the wrong choice. James had the cup. He wins the second round. Now the score is tied, 1-1. Next round will determine who is the winner of All-Star Shore Season 1. Did anyone else feel like most of the cast was rooting for James? We outright hear Angelina say she hopes Marina doesn't have the cup because then Marina would win the game. But Angelina was probably pissed at Marina for the Potro stuff, so I take her less seriously than everyone else. But even without Angelina, a lot of people are heavily celebrating when James ties the score. But maybe they just like the suspense of a tie game. With the score 1-1, James says that he and Marina have become such close teammates, it's difficult for them to fool each other. Where was this relationship in the edit? Don't get me wrong, they're never arguing with each other, but I never got the feeling in the edit like Marina and James were any closer than James and Gigi. It's round 3, the final round. It all comes down to this. Marina looks in her box. James wants to trade, then decides to trade back before locking in his choice. The moment's tense. Marina opens her box to reveal the Golden Cup. Marina is the winner of All-Star Shore. And if the edit is to be believed, she did it by tricking James, just like Pauly said she would need to. When James wants to trade boxes, Marina looks happy, even though she's trading away the Golden Cup. Then, when James wants to trade back, Marina acts dejected, even though she knows she's getting the cup back and winning the whole season as a result. I do think it's difficult to tell if Marina's facial expressions contributed to her win, or if Golden Cup truly was a game of chance. But like I said, the editing does a really good job convincing me that it was probably the facial expressions. With this victory, Marina has now won 2 reality competition shows. She won the Circle Brazil, and now she's won All-Star Shore. After the game, the cast celebrates with one last party, a white party. In the morning, everyone begins saying their goodbyes. Angelina and Potro wake up in bed together again. Marina jokes that she'll miss the drama the most, then, not joking, says that while she'll miss some of her castmates, she won't miss them all. Comments like that are why I'm going to miss Marina. We see a sentimental so long between Bethan and Johnny, then watch goodbye confessionals from Angelina and Vanjie. Finally, the cast leaves the Shore Villa, all together as the dysfunctional family they've become. Included among them is their silent but always present 15th cast member, the Disco Shark. As of now, All-Star Shore hasn't been renewed or canceled for another season, but I had so much fun watching this one. All the responses I saw online were positive, and though it seemed like Paramount Plus didn't care about the show very much, it was barely advertised until after it was already streaming, and even then, not that much. I'm hopeful that the positive reception will lead to a season 2. Because I need answers to important questions like, did Angelina and Potro sleep together? And what's the Canadian government got to do with filming? That said, a lot of this season's success for me was due to the phenomenal casting. And if that couldn't be replicated, then I don't know if the show would be nearly as entertaining. Each one of the original 14 cast members had their share of A storylines, memorable moments, drama, funny quotes. No one felt like filler, and within the entire cast, a wide variety of narratives was presented throughout the season. We got a dating show style fairy tale romance from Gigi and Blake, who I think are still together. We got a more dramatic, up and down, classic showmance from Bethan and Johnny. Angelina, Chloe, Joey, Marina, Trina, and Vanjie all brought the drama. Karime and Ricardo brought the fun. James was a perfect straight man for the audience to connect to during chaotic arguments. Blake was good for that too. And Potro may have helped Angelina commit adultery. With so much going on, the individual narratives could have felt overwhelming. But the show's pacing and storytelling usually made sense. The only point of confusion for me came a little over halfway through the season, when the cast was done being collectively annoyed at Trina and was just beginning to be collectively annoyed at Chloe and Joey. As we know, that annoyance culminated in Chloe quitting the show. But it never really makes sense why, or why the cast appears so frustrated with her at various times. Cast comments on an official All-Star Shore Instagram post tell a story untold about how the divide between Chloe and the rest of the group came to be. It seems all but confirmed that whatever happened with Chloe during filming was more extreme than what made the edit. It's a real shame we aren't being treated to a reunion show to fill in some of these gaps, because I'm not ready to let this cast go. What I wouldn't give to stick with them just a little while longer, not unlike the icky sticky sap native only to the Exile Arena. Thanks for watching and for joining me for another season of the Recap Corner. A lot of people, or a lot more people than I expected, tuned in for these All-Star Shore recaps. Thank you so much to all of you. And to All-Star Shore for being so good, I was excited to talk at a camera about it every week. I'll be back in about a month with more recaps, this time about the 21st season of Hell's Kitchen, which I got into last year, and boy, was that a good decision. Hell's Kitchen premieres on Fox at the end of the month on the 29th. In the meantime, if you like to read, I'm posting weekly write-ups about the Challenge USA on dvrzar.com. Those get uploaded every Wednesday. And in the meantime, if you're so inclined, please like and subscribe to this channel. Thanks again for being here with me, and I'll see you in a month for Hell's Kitchen. Hope you like talking about raw chicken.
He loves me. He wants to kiss me. He wants to.